Wind is a little bit chilly. Welcome back to another live chest day. We're gonna try to hit some new PRs, like always. Not 1 rep maxes, but we're looking at 10 rep maxes here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my first warm-up set. The topic for today is talking about weight fluctuations, because I've had people ask me about that. And you know, it can mess with your head when you're trying to lose weight and you see huge changes on the scale. So we're gonna talk about all kinds of things that cause that. If you're joining in, leave some messages in the chat and I will answer those as well as we go through this. But I'm gonna start with my warm up with the bar for 15 reps. Oh, it's 4 days and I still feel a tiny bit of soreness in the pecs. So I guess that was a good session I had last time. So I do 3 warm-up sets to start with the bar for 15. 135 for 10, and then I'll do 190 for 5, and I do 1 set of 235. It's about 10% more than what my working weight's gonna be. Just do a couple reps of that just to feel a little bit heavier weight, and then when I move back down to my working weight of 210, it doesn't feel as heavy as if I maybe go straight into that. That's how I like to do it. I do 5 working sets. Then a few minutes after that, here's my stack. Literally, my stack. We've got a vegan protein powder. It's a chocolate peanut butter, the Hardcore Stem pre-workout, which is the tropical fruit punch, creatine, take every day, and then the Turk Max, which is what I'm testing out right now and tracking my progress with it. And those are the things I have pretty much every day. The top 3 for sure. Well, the pre-workout for the days I work out, and then which I take it on my swimming days as well. And then the protein powder for days when I do take protein powder. That's what I have. But again, if you're joining in, feel free to post in the chat, and we'll get to those things. I'm gonna go ahead and get my next warm-up set before I start talking about stuff, because I don't really need a whole lot of rest between the bar and 135. So we'll get that done. And if you're having weight fluctuations or you think you have problems with that, let me know your experience and I can address it as well and see what the issue might be. Felt good. Ow. So, the number one thing, well, first off, before we even talk about the things that cause weight fluctuations, especially for people that are dieting for the first time, like getting into it, really trying to cut, or if you're trying to get really lean for the first time, it can be really easy to start obsessing over what the scale says. Every time you weigh yourself, you want to see that number going down. And if you see any kind of stall or the weight showing a higher number than what it normally does, you start freaking out. Do something drastic, start fasting for a day, or something like that to make the weight start going back down. And that's a good way to start losing strength, because it's calories in, calories out as far as losing fat. And if you know you're in your calorie deficit, then you're good. But there's a difference between weight loss and fat loss. And those fluctuations are where the weight loss happens, not the fat loss. And that can be caused by all kinds of things. If you're on a diet where you're not eating many carbs, and then you have a cheat day or something like that, you eat carbs, you gain some weight overnight, hold a lot more water is what's happening. You could have foods that don't agree with you and you get more bloated and hold water. Most of the time it's literally holding water. You have higher sodium foods and it makes you hold water. You add all those together, you have a cheat day with like tons of carbs and maybe ice cream, like for me, it tends to mess with my stomach a little bit. And you have the higher sodium along with those carbs. You know, you go get some Chinese food or something, lots of rice and sodium in it. Not only you're gonna hold water from the carbs, you're also holding water from the sodium. So the types of foods you eat, especially if you're on a certain diet to where, man, hold on one sec. I'm trying to make sure these ads aren't popping up all the time. But if you're on a diet where you're eating pretty clean all the time and then you eat something different, you can see some pretty huge fluctuations. So basic rules we'll cover first is making sure that you're weighing yourself consistently, and that may sound obvious, but I've encountered some interesting scenarios that I'll cover when I've worked with people in the past. 190. And a lot of these topics that I cover come from people's questions, so if there's something that you have in particular, I can answer it here if you post it in the chat, but also I will use a lot of those topics for future discussions, so I'll get even more in depth on those like we're doing today. You notice a lot of people when they do their warm-ups just start blasting the weight up and down really fast. It's a good way to get hurt. Even if you're doing 135, you don't want to just be letting the weight drop and push it up really quick. You want to control it and make sure you're actually, the whole point of it's warming up, getting a good warm-up so you don't injure yourself. I've been injured far too many times, and that's the thing I try to avoid at all costs when I'm lifting. There's going to be some risks the heavier you go, but are those risks, ones that are being mitigated? Like with what I'm doing here on this last semi warm-up set, it's heavier weight, obviously, but it also helps me on my working sets. And this is a weight that I could probably do 5 or 6 times, but I'm only doing 2, so I'm just getting a little bit heavier feeling in the bar. And I feel typically like I perform better on my working sets after that. So that's my reason for doing them. That's 205. This is all I need. $235. Almost got 2 10s on each side. That would have been 245. A little too much there. All right. So yeah, when it comes to gauging your weight loss, you want to start making sure that you're tracking your weight every day. And that means when you get up in the morning, you're doing it at the same time, not literally the same time, because if you wake up later one day from another, it's not that big a deal. Like when you get up, go to the bathroom, then get on the scale and weigh yourself. Make sure you're wearing the same type of thing. If you do it naked, do it naked. If you do it in your underwear and all your underwear is the same, do it like that. But make sure you're in the same circumstances. And I would log that weight. And then you do that every day for the week, or every day pretty much, throughout your weight loss. I even do it when I'm not trying to lose weight, because I just like to see, too, how various things I eat affect how much I weigh from day to day. Because I can fluctuate from like 5 pounds. I was like 182 earlier last week, and then this morning I was 186 and a half. Because yesterday we had a bunch of ice cream cake. That stuff was so good. Dairy Queen's Oreo ice cream cake, and I had a lot of it. And ice cream tends to mess with my stomach a little bit. And I'm 2 pounds heavier than I was the day before. Does that mean, oh, I gained 2 pounds of fat because I ate some ice cream cake? No, you would have to eat 7,000 calories extra, which definitely didn't happen. And your body would have to store all that as well. Add that to the fact that I haven't gone to the bathroom really in a couple days, and then you literally have more weight inside your body, and all of a sudden everything flushes out and you lose a bunch of weight. But that doesn't mean there's fat fluctuations, there's weight fluctuations. So your weight can vary a lot from day to day. And you want to make sure you weigh yourself in the same. And then at the end of each week, say you're weighing yourself Sunday through Saturday, after the Saturday weigh-in, add all of those together, divide by 7, and that's your weight for the week, your average weight. And then mark that for that week, and then the next week do the same thing. Then you can see over 1 week periods, is my weight, my average weight trending down? And if it is, well then you're on track. Because you can have those daily fluctuations. If you're trying to lose weight and you weigh yourself once a week, like I watched this Will Smith thing a long time ago, that was like, I forgot what they called it, like my best life, or I forget what it's called. Best shape of my life, I think is what it was. And he weighed himself once a week. I'm like, why are the trainers having him do it like this? He gets on the scale. What happens if you ate something different, or you didn't go to the bathroom for a day and you weigh more? And that's what happened. He weighed more the second week than he did the first week. He also started taking creatine, which if that's something you add to your diet, that's gonna make you hold more water. And even though you might lose a pound or 2 that week, well now you're holding on to another 3 pounds of water, so it looks like you gained weight, but you gained water, not fat. So you can gain weight while losing fat in that instance. So if you just get on the scale once a week and you're like, oh my gosh, I gained weight. I was on top of everything, working out hard, but now it's just a waste of time. Like, I can't do this. That's why you need to do it every day and take the averages, because that can be really demotivating, because one day you might see, oh wow, I lost 5 pounds this week, and the next week you're up 2 pounds because you didn't really lose 5 pounds, you lost a lot of water. So it's really important to get that right, because it'll mess with your head if you're thinking that you are gaining weight when you're not, and then you do something drastic and cut a bunch of calories and you start losing muscle, which is something you don't want to do. You don't want to just lose weight, you want to lose fat and hold on to as much muscle as possible. All right, just 2 reps here. And I can also kind of gauge how my performance is going to be based on how that heavier set feels. Sometimes my right shoulder's been a little not feeling great the last few months. The last few weeks it's actually been pretty good. I was swimming a bunch extra, and I don't know if just, the motion of getting my shoulders through that range of motion for an hour at a time, multiple times a week has helped out. But it feels like this right shoulder's been getting better. So yeah, weigh yourself every day, but only do it in the morning. Like we said, after you get up, go to the bathroom, and you're done. If you wake up and you forget and you go eat breakfast or something like that, or you go drink a bunch of water or coffee, don't go weigh yourself, because then that's going to affect your weight. Because you drink water, that's liquid, it has weight, it's going to affect your weight. If you eat food that has weight, it's going to affect your weight. So you don't want to weigh yourself after you've been eating. And that goes, and I'm going to get to the things that cause the weight fluctuations. But you don't want to mess with your head like that when you're on a diet, because if you know your calories are set, you're eating, you're tracking right, you're exercising, you're going to be good. You're going to lose fat. It's calories in, calories out. If you eat fewer than you're burning, what are they doing? If you eat fewer than you're burning, then you're going to lose fat. That's how it works. And again, if you're joining in, hit that like button, leave a comment in the chat, let me know what you're doing today, what you're working out with, or if there's any questions you have on diet and training, post it there, and I will address them. But I had a person once texted me and was like, oh, I ate some pizza and I gained weight. I was like, hold on, what do you mean? Like, he said, I ate like 2 pieces of pizza and gained weight. I was like, so like you had pizza last night and you weighed more today? Because I was gonna say, hey, you've been eating like lots of really clean foods. There's a lot more sodium in pizza, more carbs if you've been eating fewer carbs. You're gonna hold water, it's no big deal. It'll go away within a few days of eating the same type of stuff you always do. He was like, no, I just ate pizza and then weighed myself and I weighed more. And I was like, oh, dude, like food has literal weight. You could eat, like get on a scale, look at your weight and get off, then pick up a few pieces of pizza and get back on the scale. It's gonna say a higher number because that pizza went from your hand to your mouth, now it's in your body and you're holding it. So you literally will weigh more. Like I generally weigh anywhere from 4 to 6 pounds more at night before I go to bed than when I wake up in the morning. From your body digesting stuff, peeing through the middle of the night, you lose a lot of weight. And like that's why I tell people don't weigh yourself unless you're just interested to see. Like I just started seeing like on average how big of a weight drop do I have from night to morning, because it's pretty interesting how you know, that much gets processed. But don't weigh yourself after you eat meals. Of course you're gonna literally weigh more after you eat. Like don't worry, that's how it goes. The one time I did like full day of eating only donuts, but I was staying within my calorie limit and I weighed like 3 pounds less at the end of the day than I was at the beginning of the day, because a donut hardly has any weight, and I think I had a total of 9 donuts the whole day. So that's like no weight, but I was still working out, doing all my normal stuff, but I weighed less. Does that mean I lost fat? No, those are really calorie dense, but I literally had less weight from going to the bathroom throughout the day, and then the food I ate didn't make up the extra weight because they were so light. So yeah, weigh yourself in the morning and just don't worry about the fluctuations. But we're gonna get into what causes those. But now, 210. So with this Turk Max I've been doing, we're gonna see how the progression goes. 210 for 10. We're gonna see if we can get 11 today. Hopefully after a couple sets of this, I'll be nice and warm. I can take this long sleeve shirt off. It's a little bit cooler today than I thought, and the wind's blowing in here. Not today. Oh man. That 10th one felt tougher, I think, than the 10th one on my last workout. Whew. It felt pretty easy all the way up to number 8, and all of a sudden it was like getting exponentially heavier. I thought, oh yeah, I'll probably get 11 once I hit number 7, and then all of a sudden 8 was tough, 9 tougher, and then halfway up on 10, I was like, shoot, I hope I get this one up. That's why I suggest you always use some safety rails. So you don't, especially if you're working out by yourself, so you don't end up with a bar on your chest or on your neck. I've had it happen before I got those rails. Can't get the weight up. Drop it down your chest, roll it down to your waist, sit up, get it on the floor. Then you gotta take the weights off, stick it up there, put the weights back on. You know, no big deal. But, I'm gonna fix this real quick here. It's looking a little green on my camera. There we go. Anyway, so one of the biggest culprits that I see when it comes to big weight fluctuations is eating carbs. Now, does that mean carbs are bad? The keto folks will typically tell you yes, because it's gonna spike your insulin. You can't lose fat if your insulin's spiked. All kinds of stuff. Regardless of insulin spikes, if you're eating fewer calories than you burn a day, you're gonna lose fat. It's just, there's no way around it. And most people say, well, no, it doesn't work for me because I counted calories and it didn't work. Well, the reason is because most people don't actually count them right. They just guess and estimate. They'll be like, okay, I'm gonna eat some cereal. There's a bowl of cereal, what a serving, okay, that's 140 calories plus some milk. A serving is 100 calories. All right, so I had 240 calories of cereal. When really you probably had 2 to 2.5 servings of cereal in that one bowl. If you actually weighed it, you'd realize there's not a whole lot of cereal in a serving. So you could be having twice as much as you think. Plus, on top of the fact that labels can be wrong up to 20% legally. So then that twice as much as you have could be now almost 2.5 times as much. And you compound those things. People don't take the time to track the sauces they add to stuff or drinks they have. And all those calories add up. So people might think, I've been eating in a 500 calorie deficit. I had a lady one time say that she could eat 500 calories a day and still not lose weight, and she gains weight. I'm like, nah, you're not counting them right. Because I see the way people eat who say they can't lose weight. I had a person eating with us once who said she couldn't lose weight because she had a thyroid problem. I was like, oh yeah, how does that work? And I was listening to it all. And when we had dinner, she ate, I'm 185 pound guy. She ate at least twice as much food as me. I'm like, yeah, that's the reason you're not losing weight, is because you're eating more than me and I'm bigger than you. She might have been bigger than me at the time actually, but people aren't actually tracking, or they're tracking, but they're not doing it right. They think they are, but most people are way off. And that's the problem. So, you can't break the laws of thermodynamics. If you got your calorie deficit right, then you're good to go. But all the insulin and wrong tracking stuff aside, a lot of people like keto diets because it's easy to lose weight in the sense that when you're cutting out carbs, you're cutting out a lot of the sweets and stuff that are hard to stop eating. That's why a lot of things are so bad, like pizzas and stuff, like it's the carbs mixed with the high fat content from all the cheese and other stuff they add. and it's easy to eat because it tastes so good. Same with ice cream. There's lots of sugar, but there's also lots of fat with it. Like, you don't see a whole lot of carb mixed with protein meals. It's mostly carbs and fat. And fats have over twice as many calories per gram as protein. And it's not really helpful in as far as building muscle goes. But protein, having a lot of that's good because it helps build muscle. So, Cooper. Hi. But another thing that happens when you go on keto is that you lose a lot of water weight quick. Every 1 gram of carb holds 3 grams of water. So when you deplete all the carbs out of your body, which is typically roughly 4 times your body weight in grams. So for me, 180, that'd be what, 360, around 70 or 700 grams of carbs. That's like close to 2 pounds. We'll call it 2 pounds. Say I have 800-ish. Early would be 900. So 1 3/4 pounds of carbs you can hold as glycogen, but then you add water on top of that. So that's 1 3/4, 3.5, 4. That's almost a little over 5 pounds of water it's holding with those carbs. So when you quit eating carbs and your body flushes all the glycogen out of your system as you start losing weight, you're gonna lose a lot of water the first week. I do that during peak week and I lose 4 to 5 pounds of water every time. And then you're super dry when you come back for your photo shoot or your show or whatever you're doing. And then that leads to the first problem that adds a lot of weight that we'll get to after this set. So last time, my second set, I got 8 reps. Let's see if we can beat that today. Lightweight, baby. Lightweight. Come on. Got it. Oh, 1 extra rep. All right, that's good. First set was the same, but I got more in the second set, so there we go. So, with those carbs, you can lose all that water weight. Now, if you stay on that diet, you're gonna lose a lot of water weight the first week. But after that, if you're in a 500 calorie daily deficit to where you're gonna be losing roughly a pound a week, then your weight loss is going to be about a pound a week. You stick to that diet and everything's good. But what happens when you decide to go on a cheat day? You go out for some pizza with friends, you go get some Chinese or Japanese food, or you just have a bunch of rice. Even if you're in that deficit, those carbs are going to get stored up in your body as that glycogen until it gets depleted again, and you are going to hold an equal amount of water and carbs. So if you had a pound of rice, we'll say, you are going to hold 4 pounds in your body that you otherwise would have probably peed out the water and processed those carbs you might be 3 to 4 pounds heavier now if what you're eating is the same. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I just gained 4 pounds. Like, carbs do make you store fat. It must have spiked my insulin. Now I stored everything as fat. Oh my gosh. In order to gain 3 to 4 pounds of fat, you'd have to eat 10,500 to 14,000 calories extra and your body process it all. And that is a lot of food. I did a 10,000 calorie challenge once, and it's hard to eat that much food. And your body doesn't store it all. And then you panic. You think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fast all day tomorrow. Do a 24-hour fast. Maybe I'll do a 48-hour fast. I gotta drop this fat that I gained from this one meal. It doesn't happen like that. That's not how it works. You're just holding extra water. So just give it a couple days. As you're still on your deficit, your body's gonna flush out all the extra glycogen and water that you had before. You stay on that same keto diet and you're good. If you're not doing keto, you're just doing a normal diet, you're kind of, if it fits your macros type of thing, you know, you're making sure you get enough protein a day and you're staying within your calorie limit, then you're not gonna have as big of fluctuations from stuff like that. People tend to eat more healthy food when they're dieting because you can eat more volume of food of things like, you know, I could have pizza and be within my calorie limit, but I'm not gonna feel real full from like 2 pieces of pizza versus I had a half pound of chicken last night and it was a lot of food, like a lot of volume of food. You add some vegetables with that, some potatoes and stuff like that. You can have a lot of volume of food for the same amount of calories and feel more full for a longer period of time. So when you're eating like that, more clean, you tend to not hold or be taking in as much sodium, and that's the other big thing. Like, carbs are one, if you're not eating a lot of carbs, or even if you eat more carbs than normal. Like if you're in a deficit and then you eat a bunch of extra carbs, your body's gonna fill up with glycogen again because it's in a constant state of depleting it and refilling it. And people will say, well, you need to train fasted because then your body burns the fat, because if you eat breakfast and all that gets stored as glycogen, then you just burn that throughout your workout. And then you go eat and you just store it back up. Now you're not gonna lose fat. If you're in a deficit overall, your body has to start pulling from fat while you're asleep, if nowhere in no time else, to make up that deficit, to keep you alive. So don't worry about that. If you're staying in your calorie deficit, you're good. But if you have a higher amount of carbs than normal, your body will store some extra and you can hold some weight in the same way. But when it comes to sodium, can make you hold a lot of water too, but again, it's temporary. And that's why I like to weigh myself, just to see how things affect me at the end of the day. Like last night I was like 190 pounds before I went to bed, when I'm typically closer, somewhere between 187 and 188, to where I wake up at like 182 to 184, whereas this morning I was 186, but I weighed like 2.5 pounds more at night. And it makes sense because I had some pizza in the middle of the day, then we had a lot of cake, which is a lot of extra carbs because I ate a lot of it. That ice cream cake is really good, and every so often I have some, but I'm not sitting there panicking thinking, oh gosh, I gained 2 pounds of fat because I ate some cake. Doesn't work like that. No, I didn't. I'm just holding some extra carbs and water, and it's gonna flush itself out. And people look in the mirror too and see, like, when you hold more water, it's noticeable, especially the leaner you get, the more noticeable it is, because your abs start getting more sharp, and all of a sudden you eat a lot of carbs, you hold more water, and they look not as sharp. And you're like, oh man, I just put all that fat on my stomach. No, you didn't. You're just holding water. Sodium especially will do the same thing. So don't worry, don't panic. You don't need to go in some crazy 1,500 calorie deficit the next few days to make up for it. Just stay in your normal deficit, keep working out, eat the same type of foods you normally do that agree with you, and you're good. All right, we're moved it down to 200 pounds now for this next set. If I don't get 10 reps at least on my set, then I drop the weight about 5%, shoot for the same 10 reps. If I don't get it here, I'll drop it down to 190, but that's the lowest I'm gonna go, except for my drop set at the end. Because the idea is, like, if you get 10% below your starting working weight, you're kind of done if you can't get the same amount of reps. So that's what we're going with here, and see if I can get 10. I got 9 on my last workout, so obviously I want to get at least that, but maybe we'll get 10. 200. Alright, 1 extra rep. So far, it's 2 total reps more than my previous workout. That's good. I'm still gonna drop it now to 190 for my last 2 sets because I barely got that 10th one up. There's no way I'm hitting 10 reps again with 200. But that's why I always say it's good to track your weights, your workouts, pictures, all that stuff of you for motivation, because more like 8 weeks ago when I started this process, 200 for 10 was my 10 rep max. Now I just got 200 for 10 on my 3rd set, and that's dropping the weight down from my initial working set. So that's like, sweet, I'm making some good progress here. And you see that if you get stuck on a number, you're like, gosh, I've been stuck on this forever. But then you look, well, I'm actually benching like 25 pounds more than I did 7-8 months ago. So, you know, it's all good. Just push yourself hard each time, and that's good. Do a weigh-in. I weighed 186.5 this morning. I was 186.6 this morning. Normally around 184.5. But again, the last couple days, my daughter's birthday was Saturday, and we went out to eat, had some higher calorie stuff, and then yesterday had a lot of cake again. And I'm holding it. Yeah, I have a scale in my bathroom that I use. I typically, what am I thinking? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, actually on my leg days, I typically eat a little bit extra, especially if I'm like in a calorie deficit, because it's like, it only happens on chest days, it seems like. Like I could be in a big deficit going to leg day, still push hard, do really well. Same with back, but for chest, if I feel depleted at all going into it, my performance tanks. Endurance is bad, I don't perform as well. So I try to eat a little extra on my days before that. And especially, well, if I hop on the scale now, I've already eaten multiple meals, it's probably gonna be like 188, 189. So it's like, that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. There's no point in weighing yourself later in the day because you've already eaten, and I'm wearing clothes. This is like an extra 1.5 pounds worth of clothes I'm wearing. So there's not really any point on just weighing yourself aside from in the morning when you first wake up, when you go to the bathroom, because otherwise you're gonna have all kinds of skewed results because you eat different stuff from day to day, you're wearing clothes versus not. It doesn't really make sense. Yeah, so we talked about the carbs, the sodium. The other thing is just eating stuff, like different things that don't agree with you. For example, when was this? Like 7, 8 months ago or so. I like to swim for cardio, and I was in Hong Kong, and I was up early in the morning walking down the boardwalk area next to the harbor as the sun was coming up, and I saw a place where these older Chinese folks were getting into the water, a little inlet, and swimming around. I was like, oh, sweet, maybe I'll get my stuff tomorrow morning. I'll come down here and swim some laps in the harbor here. Well, I did that, and then for like 4 or 5 weeks after that, I had some serious stomach issues. I didn't put it together that it was probably from that, because when I had the breakfast buffets, I eat some of the Asian foods, but I mostly just get some like eggs and meat and stuff like that, like I would at home, similar diet. And I was thinking I might have eaten something bad, but I was like, you know what, I probably ingested something in the water there in the harbor. It's not the cleanest, but my stomach was messed up, and I would get bloated all the time, and that will make your weight holding water, not going to the bathroom for like days at a time. You could have some huge weight fluctuations. So if you're eating foods like that, you know, like I'm somewhat lactose intolerant, so, you know, add in all the carbs that I had extra, plus ice cream cake, which, you know, ice cream, milk, lactose. You start messing with your stomach and make it hurt. You start getting stressed and holding more water. Like all those things add up, and most of what you see in big fluctuations is water weight, whether it's from sodium, carbs, your body reacting to something, you're getting, you're just holding fluid. That doesn't mean you should dehydrate yourself, because that's not healthy either, and you don't want to dehydrate yourself, especially if you're lifting heavy weights, because you can mess up your joints from not being lubricated. So yeah, keep that stuff in mind. And put my, got 10 reps there. I just use my notes app on my phone to track my workouts here. You can't really see it, but yeah, notes app. I just put the sets and reps, or the weight and reps for each of my exercises. And it's an easy way to track it. I'm tracking it all on a spreadsheet right now on my computer for this project I'm doing of tracking with Turkesterone, but normally I would just take a screenshot of like the beginning of a mesocycle and then at the end and compare before and after to see how much I improved. But some way to track what you're doing is helpful to keep your motivation up. So now we're doing 190. See if we can get like 11 or 12 here. These last 2 sets. Tell you what though, I used to freak out when I was, especially when I was cutting for a bodybuilding show or for a powerlifting meet. I didn't freak out, but like I was stuck at 184 pounds about 10 months ago when I was cutting down to get to the, I think it was 181.8 was the 82 kilogram top end of that weight class. And for like 2 weeks, I was just almost every day exactly 184. I was like, what in the world? My calories are the same, I'm exercising the same, I've been losing a pound a week, and all of a sudden I dropped like 2.5 pounds after a couple weeks. It just, whatever was causing me to hold on to whatever extra water or whatever passed, and the weight dropped at the exact amount that it was scheduled to have dropped if I was losing, showing the numbers consistently over the 2 weeks prior to that. So don't make big changes right away if you go like a week and don't see a big change. Like, keep doing what you're doing as long as your weight's not consistently going up, and you should be fine. And if it's still stagnant after 2 or 3 weeks, then make some tiny tweaks. Don't do huge changes. Oops, thought I'd get that last one, and that's what the safety rails are for. Oh, it would be nice to have a partner sometimes, so I wouldn't have to strip the weight off like this. That's what pushing to failure looks like. Sometimes you can get bummed out, or I used to at least, when I'd be lifting like this and I get multiple sets where I'm hitting new highs and I'm like, yes, I'm hitting new PRs on every set. And then I get further through the workout and then start hitting, oh man, I only got the same numbers last week. That stinks. You got to keep in mind, the first set, I got the same reps as last time. And the next 2 sets, I got 1 extra rep. So at 210 and 200 pounds, that's an extra 410 pounds total I moved before going into this set. So you may be even weaker because you've done more work leading into that set. But if you're able to hit the same number, then it's like, okay, well, cool. I lifted even more weight and was still able to lift the same as before after that. So don't get bummed out if you're hitting PRs at the beginning of your workout and then you start getting, you don't keep hitting PRs throughout the rest of the thing. So that's 4 working sets. I got 1 more, which is a drop set. Then I go into my supersets for the last of it. So if you're new, like my way of working out lately has been a little bit more minimalistic in the sense of I pick 4 exercises for my push day, for my pull day, for my leg day, and just focus on that one compound movement that I do 4 to 5 working sets on, and then move to accessory lifts after that. They equal up to around that 8 to 10 working set mark for that workout. So for this, I'm gonna do 3 sets of dips after this, supersetted with some dumbbell laterals for the side delts because you're getting plenty of front delt work with the bench press and the dips. I'm getting tricep work with the dips, with the bench press. I like my arm size is good right now. I want to bring up the chest some more, so I'm focusing more on that. And then I'm doing 5 sets of lateral raises. So the first 3 I'll do with the dips, and the second 2 I'll do superset with my fly machine that I have now. And that works out well. This birthday girl with her crazy hair.
It's not my birthday.
But you're still my birthday girl.
2 days ago.
You're my 8-year-old big girl.
2 days ago.
And you're my 3-year-old little girl. But if y'all are joining in, you got any questions, post them down in the chat, and I will answer your questions there. Oh man. So what else? Oh yeah, another thing can make you hold water is stress. If you're not sleeping well and you get stressed, just a response, your body can hold water. So if you start freaking out and stressing about your weight loss, if it's stalling, that can cause you to hold more water too. So if you can stay relaxed, just know the process works. You don't, unless you're like literally having to lose weight for a certain time and not just generally trying to stay healthy and lose some weight, then don't worry about it. Like, you didn't get overweight in a day. You're not gonna get shredded. Not that you should get shredded, but you're not gonna get super lean in a day. It's a slow process. And it's the whole diet change that you're doing, that when you get to your new weight, you got this new diet and lifestyle that you're just gonna maintain it now. So it's not like if you stop, if it gets stalled for a week or two, all of a sudden everything's out the window. Oh, all this work I did is gone. No, you're still at that same weight that you just got to. Now just keep on going. And it can help to have diet breaks too. Honey, come here. That way you keep your sanity. This thing holds it right here. There.
Thank you.
All right, one last set here.
You
gotta push this down your foot.
Daddy, when we're going uphill, it says we need to walk.
And then these are locked. Now it's unlocked.
Okay, there.
Where are y'all going?
We're gonna be going to the park
With mom or by yourself?
with Mama.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's get this out over these cords before you do that.
Okay.
So you don't fall or something. Which park? Down by the pond?
Yes. I think. Yeah, that.
All right.
Now,
Last set of bench. Here we go.
I don't want to be buckled. Why? But you might fall out when you're going down the hill. No, we're going to go uphill.
Be careful that you don't strap her in and it starts rolling towards the road.
We're going to go, we're going to be going, I think you might be sitting on it. Oh, here it is. Actually, you probably won't fall out, okay? Okay, you'll be fine. Are you ready? Go to the sun!
That's 10. Drop it down to 140. Keep going. Oh man, that last 2 reps really start to burn. Whew. Notice I like doing drop sets on stuff. A lot of my exercises. This is all it takes though. Consistently training, pushing yourself a little more each time. So I always tell people, track what you're doing, have some kind of program you're following, try to push a little harder each time. And slow changes over time. Slow progress over time. That's what makes a difference. Make sure you're eating enough protein every day, pushing yourself hard, and you'll make progress. You'll gain muscle. You're not going to see huge, crazy changes. It's just how it goes. You may initially, when you first do a new exercise, see the weights go up really quick because you have some when you're doing, this is true even if you're been lifting for a long time and you add in some kind of new exercise, you have some neural adaptations to just feeling the movement, learning how to do it, getting your form locked in, and as you're getting your form figured out, you tend to progress on it quicker. Because you figure out how to recruit the maximum amount of muscle for strength and exercise. But then when you get past that point, the changes are going to be a lot slower. Here, I'll get it. Come on, big boy. Not me.
Are you using this one? Mom, are you using this one?
No, that's the one that
Look at Taylor's.
I
You saying hi? Ah. There he is. Ah. Ah. Bah. Do it loud. Ah. Ah. You gonna do it? Ah. Do it. There you go. Blah, 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 blah.
Cooper, do you want it? Your hat?
You might need a little jacket. You have a blanket or something you can use?
Yeah. I'll go grab a blanket.
Kinda cold out right now. You have to yell at it. Are you Pikachu or Peekaboo?
What?
Pikachu? Turn my hat around backwards so I don't hit the front on this thing. So I go down till my face touches. What's wrong? He's what? Put this around your arms, big boy. Whee! Yeah. There you go. I have Elsa's face on your tummy. So I got 10 and 10. So I got 3 total reps extra on all my sets today for bench. So that's good for progress. Now, what, babe? Let's get a first set of dips. 20 reps. 15 pounds. Cooper, what you doing? Ah. 5. 10. 15. 20. Last one was a little tough. Ah! Bah! What are you yelling at? Huh? You're funny. Alright, if y'all are joining in, again, just post something in the chat if you got any questions, and I'll answer them there. Alright, dumbbell laterals, 15s. For 20 reps. Five.
I told you to put it like
I know, a little bit cold.
10.
Make not that far.
15.
Hey, come to the shoulder.
$20. Careful in that stroller with her. She's pushing her down that big hill.
Yeah. I'll tell her, you might pick it out on the hill.
See you, big buddy. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh, man. What's Connor doing?
School.
Yeah. Got 60 pounds for 11. Let's see if we can bust that out. What I have in the description right now is my weights and reps I did on my last workout 4 days ago, so you can compare there to what I'm doing now. Thanks. Cooper. Shoulders are feeling extra pumped now. Here we go. Here we go. $60. First like 5 or 6 reps don't feel that hard, but then it's like hitting a wall after that. I like to do this a little bit just to stretch out in the direction I'm about to go. Oh man. 10. So that's slight regression, but again, it's no big deal. That's why I'm always saying, just push as hard as you can, at or close to failure every time, and then you you know you're pushing your muscles as hard as you can, so it's really not that big a deal. Even if you're not as strong that day, you're still stimulating the muscles as much as possible. If you're pushing as hard as you can. So we got the 25s. Five. 10. 15. 20. Man, that burns. Wow. Woo. That burns for sure. I'm gonna do one more set of, what are those called? Dips. The drop set. So I'm gonna do 35 pounds and then drop the 35 and keep going. Oh man. If you're joining in, let me know where you're watching from. What are you lifting today? Pretty much already covered all the stuff 1, 2 today about weight fluctuations. If you're joining in, you can always rewind, but the big things are carb changes, sodium changes, and just eating things that don't agree with you or stress. And the big thing to remember is if you're in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight over time. Even if you have a cheat day or whatever, your body's not holding all that stores fat. If you have weigh in 2 or 3 pounds heavier one day, it's probably because you're holding a bunch of extra water. You keep doing your normal diet. And it's typically, the psychological aspect's even worse when you're losing weight, because it's typically when someone does like a cheat day. So you're on this strict diet, you're losing weight, you do a cheat day, you hold 3 or 4 pounds of water, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is why I can't eat like this. It's making me fat. It's just water. You may have possibly gained a little bit of fat if you ate a ton, but it's mostly water. And within 3-4 days, it's gonna flush out and you're gonna be right back to how you were losing weight. So it's not a big deal. Try not to make too big of a deal out of it. Man, I'm really feeling my shoulders today. This Turkesterone, this is my, legs, push, off one day, pull, legs. This is my 6th day on it so far, and I don't notice any like, oh, I feel stronger. I feel more aggressive. I feel more motivated to go to the gym, like people say. This is what it is, Turk Max. I think it's called Turk Builder Max or Plus now, I don't know, they keep changing the name. And it comes in like a square pack. I prefer this, but you know, whatever. But the point of this trial I'm doing is seeing if my progression in strength is quicker than my last mesocycle. So last time I picked a weight for my leg press, my bench press, my row, and I stuck with that same weight over 6 weeks, and 5-6 weeks, something like that, and tracked it all to see just as many reps as I can, especially that first set. I started out with the 10 rep max and got up to 15 on the leg press and the rows, and then on bench press I only got up to 12. Almost 13, but it was 12. So now I'm bumped the weights up to my new 10 rep max for all those, and I'm seeing how the progression compares to the last time I did this. So we'll see. Is it worth your money or not? I'm only taking 1 pill at a time right now, or a day. And I'm gonna go through the whole progression again after I finish this 7 rounds, which takes about 5 weeks, and do it again with 2 a day. And possibly another one with 3 a day after that, if I see a noticeable difference with 2. Because 3 is the max recommended dose. Five. 10. 14. Fourteen and 5. Man, it is middle of March and my garage is covered in pollen already. It's a little annoying. So that was about the same on, not about, but it was the same on sets and reps. 14 and 5 for the dips. Almost done. Took a little bit more rest between sets on the bench than I intended. This workout's going a little long, but it's all good. I don't have anywhere to be, so, you know, that's cool. All right, lateral raises. Let's do this with the 35s. 5. 10. 14. 14. All right. So my Pec Fly Machine, this is only going to be my, I think, 3rd time using this thing. So I'm still kind of getting a feel for the movement and how much weight to use. But I think last time on my first set, I got 150 for, I think it was 20. So I just threw on 10 extra pounds. See if I can get 160 for 20 this time. So I'm gonna turn this back around now. Finally cut my hair yesterday after a couple months, because it was getting a little bit out of hand. 10. I really like doing higher reps, like 15 to 20 on isolation movements like this. Compound movements, I like to stick more in the 8 to 12 range. Just my preference. If I learned my lesson from last time, I smacked my head on this. Oh, wait a second. I can't count. That was 150 again. I meant to put the 10 pounders on, not the 5. Oh well, that's fine. I'll just keep that in mind for next time. Make sure I learn how to count better. So that was still 150 because I don't know how to add for 20. Now lateral raise. Five. Felt like a little weird, not a twinge, but like almost a knot starting in my lower back there, or middle back. But then it went away. All right, only 2 more sets of each, we're done. So yeah. Hey, John, thanks. Appreciate it. Just finishing up here, getting another chest day in. It's one of my favorite days is doing chest workouts, getting a good pump. Something else for people to remember too, just when it comes to, I was talking about, dieting and weight fluctuations, but also just seeing yourself in the mirror. I was telling someone the other day, I was asking like, how are you so vascular? I said, well, part of it's genetics. Part how lean you get, because the more lean you are, the less fat there is, and the more they stick out, how much of a pump you get. But also the bigger your muscles get, it pushes them out more against your skin. So, but you got to keep in mind, like when you see these people, this is a teenage kid. It's like when you see these people online posting pictures, they'll like diet down, get really lean, and take 1,000 pictures in different settings, over a couple days where they're in their peak, just like people that bodybuilding post pictures all throughout the year of how they look at their competition. And you get to thinking like, oh man, I wish I looked like them. I wish my abs were that shredded. But theirs aren't even that shredded all the time. That was a picture from 6 months ago. That's why they're always wearing hoodies in the gym, because they don't even look like they do, and they don't feel like they look good enough because they don't look like they did in the picture. And people see them in real life and they don't want people to see when, like, my veins, if it's cold out and it's first thing in the morning, you might not see them at all because they're so small, versus right now they look really big and pumped up. And the same thing with abs. Like when you're just chilling, you can see the outline of abs, But that's what it looks like normally. But then when people suck in and flex really hard, all of a sudden the obliques pop, and you see someone with their pictures like this, and you're like, man, my obliques don't pop like that. I must need to lose more weight. But in reality, those people's stomach looks the same as yours. They're just they're posing for that picture with the light in the right place to make it stand out more. But if they're walking along on the beach, you're not walking around sucking in your stomach, flexing as hard as you can all the time. So don't get caught up in how shredded your abs look. Do I know how to pec pop? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a matter of having enough muscle there to be able to do it. I actually do that. My kids will all like start singing a song with my shirt on and start doing that with the notes, and they all start cracking up laughing. But yeah, that's just a matter of, I mean, all you're doing is flexing your chest, and then your chest has to be big enough to be able to see that it's happening, basically. I appreciate the super chat with that question. That's funny. All right, last set of chest flies here, drop set. So I'm gonna do 200 for as many as I can, then drop it back down to 150 and keep going. Last time I got 12 and then 8. So let's see if we can beat 12 this time. This is a really good machine too, from GMWD Fitness. I got a review on it coming out soon, but I've been enjoying it. Doesn't take up a ton of space. Plate loaded. Works well. Five. Ten, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is where it's nice to have like the pin loaded machines at the gym. So you can just reach down, pull the pin, and keep going, but that's a small price to pay for the convenience of my home gym. Not a big deal, in my opinion. One. Some of those exercises like that, when you get into the higher reps, it's almost hard to tell, like, is it my strength that's giving out, or is it just burning so much now that it's like, oh, I can't get myself to do another rep? Because that was definitely starting to burn. But yeah, that's 3 total extra reps from before, so that's cool. Got 14, so I may add 10 pounds next time to get that harder set up into keep it in the 12 to 15 rep range. Give myself another minute of rest before I do these lateral raises. So I'm gonna do the 35s as many times as I can, drop to the 25s, and that's it. Appreciate the comment again, John. That one made me laugh when I saw it. Oh man. I remember seeing when I was a kid, like some superhero movies like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, seeing Chris Evans in that and be like, man, I want to look like those guys. And it's funny because now looking back, they don't look that big based on how standards have changed with social media and all that. But I used to do the Men's Health magazines. I'd buy them and follow these workout programs, these silly programs that they had. Wouldn't really see any progress. I didn't understand how much diet played into that, needing to eat protein. You didn't have YouTube in the way that you do now back then. So you just trusted, oh, this must be how stuff works. I didn't even know about steroids and how much people were probably taking in the movies. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago where I started dialing in, learning. I got a training program from Greg Doucette, started eating, making sure I had enough protein, and I just like gained 15 pounds in a little over a year really quickly without adding really any noticeable fat. My legs blew up because I never really worked them out a lot, and it made a huge difference. So just being consistent with a program and eating the right stuff is what it takes. Pushing yourself, learning how to do that, pushing through like that burning when it gets hard, knowing that, okay, this is what's going to cause the growth, and taking pictures over time. You'll see a big difference, because 5 years ago I was like 158 pounds, now I'm 185. Yeah. 13. Down to the 25s. Keep going. Five. 13, I think. So yeah, that's and keep in mind that as you progress, the weight gain, muscle gain is going to slow down. So, you know, over the last 5 years, I've gained 25, a little more than 25 pounds of muscle. Maybe in the next 5 years, I can gain another 10 and be in the low 190s lean. That'd be pretty big in my 40s. And just try to maintain that and reduce the rate of muscle loss as much as possible over the next 20 to 30 years after that. Because I want to be healthy as long as possible. I have 6 kids. I want to be around for them and grandkids and doing fun stuff. And using this to stay healthy. But yeah, that's all for today. I'll be back probably Wednesday with my pool day because I'm going to swim tomorrow. So back day will be then. I should have another video coming out tomorrow. Yeah, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, John.